29th of April at Wembley is going to be a massive night. Anthony Joshua versus Wladimir Klitschko. We're here in Hyde in Manchester at Ricky Hatton's gym. Ricky, people are going to be looking at the odds on betsafe.com for this one. It's much vaunted, talked about for ages. First of all, Anthony Joshua, how good is he? He's had a lot of fights, but he's been on the undercard of loads to start with, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's fantastic what Anthony has achieved. I think he's only had 18 fights, you know what I mean? He's already won a world title. He's been looking like an absolute world beater. But this is the acid test for him in many ways. You know, it's one of them fights where whatever result comes, I don't think I'd be surprised at. You know, if Anthony Joshua goes out there and blasts him out, which he's well capable of doing, Klitschko seems to have been around forever, a lot of miles on the clock, you wonder how long can Klitschko carry on. And to be honest with you, maybe it's the right time for Anthony Joshua, maybe he's getting him at just the right time where, you know, obviously he got beat by Tyson Fury, he seems there's a lot of miles on the clock on him now, and when you see Anthony fresh, young, ambitious, powerful, you know, it'll be hard to go against Anthony Joshua. But having said that, you know, the only time Anthony has been hit on the chin was against Dillian Whyte, and Dillian Whyte, I think, no disrespect to Dillian, I don't see as world class. I see him European class, maybe just hovering outside the top 10, and he was the only man to shake him. Which obviously, if you're Wladimir Klitschko, you think, well, if a domestic European type level who's only fringe world class has shook him up, Klitschko will go in there with confidence that he can nail him, because he's been that good where there's only one person that's nailed him, and that was Dillian Whyte. You know, so will be interesting here.
The one thing that interests me about this one, you know, you see, talked about Bellew and Hay and all this, and Thurman and Garcia, all the trash talk, trying to fight each other. This is very professional, isn't it? When you see them, they're shaking hands. There's a respect.
Yeah.
Does that show the professionalism?
It's all opposite, you know. I mean, to be honest with you, most people, as I said earlier, Tony Bellew and David Hay, two of the nicest guys you'll meet, you know what I mean? But people, the minute you stick that camera in front of their face, they can't help but give it that. I mean,
we're just backing off right now, aren't we?
Yeah, you know, in order to publicise the fight. I mean, nobody sold more tickets than me, and I never slagged anyone off, you know. But I think Anthony Joshua and Wladimir Klitschko are going about it the correct way, as professionals should do. Anthony Joshua really down to earth, you know what I mean? You know, feet firmly on the ground, dead level-headed. And Wladimir Klitschko, I mean, style-wise, he's not something that I would call my cup of tea. But I mean, he's been a hell of a champion, hasn't he? Respectful, fought the best, never shied away from no one, been there a number of years now. They're doing everything right, and they're behaving like they should behave, really. Which, but it's if Klitschko gets beat, he'll retire, and he'll retire, and he's had a wonderful career. But then Anthony, if he wins, you know, will Tyson Fury come back? There's lots of domestic fights, so
might be Bellew if Bellew beat Hay. They're talking about.
There's no reason why. That's the fight I would like to see. If Bellew, or the winner of Bellew and Hay fought the winner, fought Anthony Joshua. Well, what a fight that would be for British heavyweight boxing, But I think. It's interesting times, to be honest with you. I think, if Dillian Whyte can hurt Anthony Joshua, Vladimir Klitschko can. There's no doubt about that. But, it's hard to, Anthony Joshua, the way he's winning his fights with such ease and in the manner he's doing it now, he could go down as one of the greats, in the manner he's doing it. But we'll know more about Anthony Joshua certainly after this fight, yeah.
Well, that's an interesting one. I mean, 68 fights for Klitschko, 18 for Joshua, and like I say, a lot of them jobbing undercards, weren't they? Every 3 months, Hearn got them out there. This is Wembley. It's a post-war record, 90,000 people. How much is in there when you see Klitschko? It comes out, been there, seen it, done it, and then young Anthony Joshua. Could it get to him?
There's loads of ifs, isn't there? There's a lot of pressure on Anthony Joshua. One, he's fighting Wladimir Klitschko, which is obviously, daunting to say the least. But then he's under pressure, because he's got 90,000 people to do it in front of. But, there's a lot of miles on the clock now with Wladimir Klitschko, where Anthony Joshua is fresher. He's young. He's got the ambition, and you know, I mean, it's when I fought Kostya, when I first won my world title, nothing would have stopped me. I could have walked through that wall because you're young, you're ambitious, you're fresh, you think you can beat the world. And even though then when I got beat by when I fought Floyd Mayweather, you know, once you've won 3 or 4 world titles and you beat Kostya and that, you still train hard, but there's part of you that just relaxes that little bit because you've done it. If that makes some sort of sense. But I mean, because Vladimir's gone there, he's got the T-shirt, he's won this title, he's fought this guy, he's fought that guy. You can't tell me that he's still as hungry as he's ever been, and more to the fact, you still can't tell me after everything he's done for you, he's as hungry as Anthony Joshua. Surely he can't be. So it's experience versus youth, you know what I mean, and it might just be the right time for Anthony Joshua, so I'm going to go with AJ.
Biggest puncher?
Yeah, Anthony Joshua, I think. You know, he has a frame like Frank Bruno. He had a frame, but he seems to have, I don't know whether it's the training methods, the more modern day training methods. Like, he's more explosive with the frame, you know what I mean? And he's, with Klitschko, with his, it's the first time he's going to be looking up at an opponent, you know, with Klitschko, with his height and his style of, you know, of boxing. He's going to need that explosiveness to nail him. But if he falls short, you know, Klitschko with the reach, he could walk him onto one. So it's an interesting one. All these 3 fights have, you know, a lot of what ifs. But I think it's the right time for Anthony. I think Wladimir could be there for the taking. I think Anthony's only had 18 fights, but he's had the grooming, the right opposition he's been up against now, and now it's the time. It's now or never for Anthony Joshua to take on Klitschko, and I think he could knock him out because there's a lot of miles on the clock on Wladimir now. We can't go on forever, none of us, and I think it might just be the right time for Anthony.
So I'll give you the £5 dinner money that I've got.
Yeah, probably let's go for AJ on a knockout. Yeah.
There you go. No trash talk here. You've heard it. It is an Anthony Joshua win. It's a massive night, 29th of April. Check all the latest odds out on betsafe.com. You've got to be in it to win it.